Part 48, Pilate's going to question him, Barnabas or Jesus, and Jesus was beaten. I hope to get that far anyway. Remember I left off, and I'm going to try to make sure that I find why I did this in this text below. I just want to make sure that those that are you coming into this one, but watching only this video, you have to go back to see why I'm doing that. And for this reason, well, that just doesn't, no. It had to be renamed, but it's not. That's spoken but prophesying. And this is the prophecy through Jeremiah. Price of the one, but for the one, set by the sons from Israel, which is the high priest and the elders, the very high up authorities from Israel's descendants at this time. And they put them in a potter's field, not gave them in the potter's field. You just read just had the last one, they buried them. Jesus stood before the governor, and I replaced the word governor, and I got Pilate. I should have put Pontius in there. But I will do that in the next cleanup after I do all these. Question him, are you king for the Jews? So now we have this understanding that when they brought him before Jesus or before Pilate, they said, this is what you should do because he is going around. How would you judge him because he is saying he is king for the Jews? Okay. And I'm using the word Jews because, like I said, this is kind of because those that are close to Pilate, they wouldn't be saying that they're Israelis. They would be saying they're Jews because they don't believe in our Creator. Oops, yep, I just realized that. Better get some light on me here. Uh-oh. Don't tell me that light just burned out. Oh. Okay. No light. That's bad. That's bad. I'm most likely going to have to order lights now, and I don't want to spend any money before I move. Because I looked them up, they're a couple $100 a piece, I think. So Jesus replied to him, didn't say to him, but said to him, I am as you said, because Jesus knows that they're descendants of Israel. So not that he's saying that he's a Jew. Okay. Being accused by the priests and elders. He did not answer them. Then Pilate asked him, though they were accusing him of many other things. Yeah, they were just throwing out accusations against him. The things they are testify against you, trying to coax Pontius into making a judgment call here. He did not, this text doesn't need to be here, just shorten it down, it even reads better. And their governor was amazed. Before our celebration, this now means this is that day I was telling you about. It's not a feast. It's the celebration that's going to happen at twilight. That's the beginning of a day. So before then is this day that they were preparing for, is what I was saying, is when they brought Jesus to Pontius, and this is what you're seeing here in this text. their governors allowed our tradition, meaning all three areas that were different areas had governors, and you've seen the map before, allowed this tradition, and then to release to our people, not to the multitude, to our people, any prisoner they wanted. Now, I don't know how it come about, but it is really sickening today to see that the President of the United States to play this game of at Thanksgiving to take 2 turkeys and then to release 1. That's just mocking what has happened here. They just don't think what they're doing, or they don't care. Very stupid of them. And I don't know why you Christians are celebrating or not talking against this and letting them know that they're mocking this choice whether to kill Jesus or to let the other one go. And the Romans were holding a famous prisoner, and this is his name, not called, but he was named Barnabas. And when our people gathered, now you have to have the situation where somewhere in the governor's place where he's living has to have this upper floor where he's overlooking people that are down below him, for the simple fact that when the people are gathered, so it would have to be that our Israelis and those that were part of the crowd from the priests and elders, because they know they needed their group there to condemn them. So they're probably front and center, and the others are gathering around them. They were probably there ahead of time. But what they're doing is they're bringing these accusations before them at this time. It doesn't say that here, but we know the other text is there because we'll read, see how much it is in this book, but I just can't ignore what's in the other books when I'm talking to you about why our people would be there, meaning the writer saying Israelis were there. And we also know that they aren't the ones going to be jeering and asking for his death. So, but the text is saying people and need our people there. Pilate asked them, now he's out there, who do you want me to release to you? And Pilate surely wouldn't use the word Christ. He doesn't care what's going on. He's just going to say which one, because he knows Barnabas deserves death. But it's up to them, because Barnabas is like, how would I put this? Or he might have been leading riots against, or people against, the Roman judgments or whatever they're doing. And in this riot, he was probably, he killed probably one of the Romans that came out to do whatever, but because he was probably their spokesman or leading against them, this is why they knew who he was. But when he killed that other, say, Roman, they had the right to arrest him and kill him. So, for he knew of their envy. That's why they're saying, which one do you want? And while he sat in the judgment seat, see, this is that what I'm saying, he has to be above to see the crowd. So there's not going to be a wall out in front of him. It's just going to be like a flat part that he's up higher. His seat's going to be there. They're presenting the argument before him, and then he's asking the crowd. And this has nothing to do with anything here, so that doesn't need to be in the text at all. But here we have, I didn't know if I paused the text or, because I thought more time would have been by there. So I thought I might have paused it on you and have been talking for a while without you there. Had influenced their crowd. See, this is where, not persuaded, but they influenced their crowd to do this. Ask for Barnabas and give Jesus death. Not put Jesus to death, but give Jesus death as a judgment call. They need to have him do it, so it says give. So they were persuading him to give Jesus this death that Pilate's saying that this guy knows they're going to go be crucified, but who's going to replace him would be Jesus. So Pontius again asks him, doesn't answer, which of the two, see it's a question, do you want me to release? And they again answered Barnabas. Then he asked them again, what do you want me to do with Jesus? And that's when they would not, Pilate would not know this. And they answer, let him be crucified. This was the punishment for murderers, okay? So they want them, so they're replacing Barnabas, who was supposed to be there, and they still wanted, by the influence of the elders and priests, to have Jesus crucified. And he asked them, because he can't figure out why and what evil has he done, but they kept shouting out, this doesn't need to be here. But Pilate knew, not Saul, he knew that he could not save Jesus, not accomplish nothing, but he could not save Jesus. I need to take this. That's just a scammer. Let's see here. Yeah, he couldn't accomplish, he couldn't save Jesus. For a riot was starting. They were getting unsettled, so he went over and not took water. He washed his hands, and that there must have been a bowl there for him to do this. And it would have been close to the front where everybody could see him doing this. And then there was a crowd. Then he shouted, I am innocent of this male's death. So that means he is condemning him to death because he's switching that prisoner out for this prisoner, or one who's being accused before him, because he might have been claiming he is a king, but that's not worthy of death because he's not inciting people or leading people yet. So it might have been arrestable to throw him in jail for that, but not to deserve death. And he was beaten, not scourged. And remember, this would have mean our Creator would not have him scourged. He's killing them, and it's enough that Jesus has known this all his life. So the thing there is, as the time is coming up, he wouldn't be doing the extra punishment. There's no reason why. Just agreeing that he will die a terrible death under the Romans is enough. The soldiers took Jesus to their gathering. This is just a word that they're throwing in there to say that they had a special place where they went and took and prepared them before that, but it would have been just a gathering room for them. They would not have a name for it. Don't need any of that either. And they stripped him and put on the purple robe on him, not scarlet, purple. Okay. Red is what the priest would have been wearing. So that would have been a priest robe. He was a king. A king wears purple robes. And then they wove a crown of thorns, put it on his head. Then they knelt before him and mocked him. See, they're saying King of the Jews now. And here they too spat at him and took the reed and began to beat him on the head. No, this we don't need. This is fine and dandy right here. They already beat him. They already put a robe on him. Then they put the crown of thorns on him and mocked him. They knew they were going to crucify him. Why do anything more? Then they took the robe off and put his garments back on him, or his garment back on him. I'm saying it's a one-piece hide, and that's because that's the tradition since Adam and Eve. That those who believed our Creator, that was their clothing style. So they weren't walking around in linens except for those that wanted to. Jesus kept to the tradition. So did John, even though it might have been a little hot during the summer. He might have had the top off, or he just had it around his waist, or down, folded down, just for the waist there. They were walking, and they didn't find him out. They just grabbed a guy off the side, and his name was Simon, and they made him carry the cross. Let's see here. Yeah, this is where they're saying that they crucified Jesus. No, it was a place by the road. So those traveling in and out, that's why I'm saying that it has to be at the gate of entrance, one of the gates of entrance into Jerusalem. So by that road, okay. Gave him to drink, and it was mingled with bitters, not gall, bitters. Meaning they could have crushed some of the leaves up that were bitter that they know that they eat, but they just put them in with water and stirred it around. And after tasting it, he did not drink it. Not unwilling, he just did not drink it. Here you notice it is a single garment here, okay? After they crucified him, they not divided, they cast dice for his garment, okay? I don't know what they called them at that time, but it would have been casting dice, or very much so like casting dice. Maybe they had something else, but the best I can come up with dice, because the word lots doesn't actually fit it either. And I looked it up, and no, you're not gonna. Well, let's look it up here. 27:35. I'm going to try to get it ready before I... And this is what they've got. Lots. No, we were casting dice. Okay. For his garment. Then they kept watch over him, and they put above him, above his head, the charge that was against him. So when the people that were on the road, when they went by, they should have seen things like murderer, murderer, this charge that why they was killed. Here they put down Jesus, King of Jews. So they wouldn't have been robbers that were crucified with him. They had to be murderers. One to his right, one to his left. And those that passed by, I need to add those, not were hurling, but were shouting abuses. And then wagged their head. And these would have been those that were for the priests and elders. They wanted to see this. They wanted to be in good standing with the higher people in power for all the descendants of Israel. And they're starting to say that it was their temple and rebuild it in 3 days. I'm going to get rid of this. And actually not rebuild it. He could destroy their temple. Because the people that are doing this, that are saying this, they were in the courtyard, just to let you know. And they would have known that the high priest asked him about being our son from our Creator. Come down from this cross, not your cross, but this cross. Here we've got the tribes priest, tribes needed, and they were shouting because they wanted everybody to hear what they were saying, their people. He helped others. No, he healed others, but they're referring to it as he helped others. Not that he saved them, he helped them. Now let's see if he can help himself. Yes, I'm using the word help because of what they're saying here in the text. Help himself. And then they're saying, if you, not he, if you are our king for Israelis, see how they use the word Israelis instead of the word Jew here, or Israel. I put the IS on here to show the difference, that they understood that they were Jews who didn't believe, but for Israelis, they were the believers. Come down now of this cross, we will all believe you, not him, even though they're showing it out. Maybe I should have the word him. No, he's speaking to Jesus at that time. He trusts YHVH to deliver, but no, it's to save him now. Because they're talking about coming down off the cross, he wouldn't die. And they're kind of mocking our Creator here by saying these words, so don't really need those words there. Then Jesus answers them, I am your king from YV. He wants them to know that he is going to be their judge. So, because they were well aware of the text that they were changing. And one of the murderers crucified with them, he too was not casting, but he was shouting insults at him as well. Now it's the 6th hour of the day. That means it's noontime, okay? Noon. Darkness fell over the land, not all the land, but where they were at, they would have known it was there, until the 9th hour, which is halfway between. It's not just 3 hours, because remember, it's 12 hours for the daylight, but 6 is in the middle, and 9 is this much more. So it's probably closer to, because this is summer solstice, okay? The day before the solstice, and we know that's the longest day of the year. So the 9th hour is probably right around 5 o'clock. And in that hour, Jesus cried out, my Father, why have you forsaken me? All this text here doesn't need to be said. Now, a lot of people who study Buddhism, I want you to see this here, where they got Lama, okay? And this here, this might have been Buddha's name being called at that time. So we're taking that out. I don't know what these words are. I don't care what they are, but I just want to let you know that this text that's being added in by them is, I want you to point out that, or I want you to see that he would not say anything in a loud voice proclaiming a Buddha as a god, okay? A lama, whatever. But that's my understanding. I don't care if I'm wrong. This just is not going to exist. And it's not my God. It's not title. He doesn't call him by his title. You call him my Father. Why have you forsaken me? Jesus wants to know he's suffering. I mean, he's hurting up there. So, yeah, so I can understand that verse or his words being said. And then when they heard him, they shouted, he is calling for YV. He is not calling for Elijah. I mean, is that what this is saying? Is this what they're saying? Eli, no, save me. I don't know. Anyways, he called for Elisha. No, he's calling for YV. And this would have been those that, because one of them ran and got a sponge and filled a sponge. I don't think he had a sponge on him, but he might have had a cloth on him and poured water on it, not wine. I don't see them out in the crowd carrying wine around. So it would have been water. And then he put it on a branch to give him a drink. And then he said, let us see if Ivy comes to save him. And that's why this is in black, because they now know they're talking about the creator, but they don't believe in the creator. So here I've kind of saying this is they know that it's him, but they don't believe in him. So this is why it's this way, not colored. Then Jesus cried out again, and then he died. You can't give up your spirit. You're not in control of this. So he died, or his body died, not he died. Just understand that. I don't want people to say, oh, he died. You don't believe he has a soul. Well, the thing here is let's correct the text. The veil, no such thing. There is a veil or curtains in the tent for meeting, but in the house, it was a wall made out of wood with two doors. In fact, the doors had engravings on them as well. So this word veil is, you just don't understand. If you think that's true, you better look it up, because that is absolutely a false. Um, and then his house was split in two, and that's what I mean. They had to be there to witness that they were watching Jesus die, and then looking over and seeing this commotion happen where it split in two. And I'm just saying the walls split in two. Um, and would that have happened? Because it didn't really. Um, it's I got it down here that they fell. Okay, so from top to bottom, and then the earth shook. This is the earthquake I was telling you about earlier, and the blocks. Oops, they weren't rocks that were made out of the house for our Creator. They were granite blocks. We split into from the, yeah, the word. I needed the word for. I went overboard. For, because there was a earthquake. That's what caused this breaking of this. So, or the earth shook. Okay, this is going to be one of them times that I'm going to I'm going to move text. I'm going to move text because it has to read this. And I'm going to need this here. And then I'm going to say, then tell me this. There shook. And I'm going to put it in I'm going to use yellow. And then you're going to use yellow here. The earth shook. And I guess that's, I'll just say I added the word and. His house was split in two. I guess they don't need these words here from top to bottom now. And the blocks fell. Okay. So take this. Oh, yeah, I guess I will do this. Let me do this real quick as well. Let me just do a quick read. Jesus cried out again, then he died. Then the earth shook, and his house was split into two and fell. and the blocks fell. I'm going to leave the 2 commas there. Now, it says tombs. I've told you what tombs are. Tombs are what are the places that they would lay the body on. So it was a tomb, and they had tombs in it. But no, this is when Jesus ascended into heaven is at this time, and his kingdom was established, and those that our Creator had forgiven that were in the abyss, this is what they're saying, that our graves opened, and many souls, not bodies, but souls, rose to heaven. Okay? Um, let's see. And and from I'm going to say that's what these 2 words here are. Yeah. And from our graves open. Now, remember I was telling you about the potter's field. They had to be able to witness this, and they had to witness this graveyard as well. So on one side of the road, there might have been the commoner's grave. On the other side, where they crucified Jesus, was the graves that the Israelis were buried in, right next to each other. Okay? I'm just trying to show you, giving you a mental of that all these things they're witnessing at this time. This couldn't have been on the other side of Jerusalem. Okay? So when I got rid of those words above, where they were naming it, that's just wrong. And from our graves, this doesn't need to be there. Many souls rose to heaven. Okay. That is better. That's the visual, and I'm glad that this text was here to show you that when I was correcting that it was a graveyard and how the potter's field had to be made into a graveyard at this time. So just to let you know, there you go, out rose to heaven. I'm going to put ascended. Oops. Like that. All right. I think I'm going to call it for this video because there's, you can't see it, but there's not much more text left after this. So I want to get that all in the next video. But getting close to the end of Matthew.